Lascurain, Jedynak, O'Scanlon, and Doria talk solutions for New Jersey's public pension shortfall of over $40 billion at the Guarini Institute for Government and Leadership held at St. Peter's University. The forum was moderated by Ryan Hutchins of Politico.
We've increased the contributions that all of the state employees pay into the pension as a result of that piece of legislation that passed in 2011. So they are living up to their obligation. They're paying more. They're paying much more, okay? So they're living up to their obligation. The state has begun to pay money in at a very low level, but not at the level that is required. What we need to do is we need to have economic development in the state to provide the income, the tax revenue to pay our obligations. New Jersey does some unique things that other states don't do. For example, we pay the Social Security at 7.65% for every certificated employee in every school district in the state. That's money that's being paid into a pension, Social Security pension, that does not exist in other states. That's part of that when you look at the education funding. And a lot of people, most people, including the teachers, don't realize that. And when people say school districts get no money, some school districts, they're getting that 7.65%, and they're also getting the benefit of not paying into the pension because the state should be paying into the pension for all those certificated employees. So the match from the boards that should have been going in over the years, the state was supposed to be paying that. And that's had a negative impact upon the total value of the pension system. The other thing is when we did the bond, we also gave everybody a little bit of a pension holiday in order to sell, and the unions, and if any NJEA members here, any union members are here, they all got a little something, a little penny for not opposing the bond. And that was for 2 years they didn't pay into the pension. So all that money that could have been collecting interest over those years is not in the pension fund.
There is a way for us to fix our system. The question is, can we fix it without crushing taxpayers or crushing public workers and remaining solvent? And I'm not sure we can do that. We may have crossed the point of no return already because I'm doing the math. I'm doing the deep dive. I'm not convinced we're beyond that point. If I resign suddenly, it's not because I've done something unethical, because I just would never do that. It's because I've given up on New Jersey. Give back around $250 million, $300 million in order to ameliorate the impact on employees. If you look at the plan, the overwhelming majority of revenue, probably 80% of the savings, is not a transfer to employees, and you'll get very happy to hear. It's a matter of doing things more efficiently, making use of exchanges, but we would move employees from platinum plans to gold level plans. President Obama's own platinum plan definition only goes up to 92% actuarial value because they assume there's really no plans out there that are more than that. We're 96%. If you go from platinum level plans to gold level plans, employees would still have better health benefits than almost any private sector worker and pay less for them. We are not proposing to change the percentage, the average percentage that public workers pay of their premiums. It's around 17.7%. Average private sector workers well over 20. We're not proposing to touch that. Between the use of these exchanges, much better, much more efficiently delivering to retired employees the Medicare portion of their benefit, you could save, just in that alone, you could reduce costs to retired employees and save almost $590 million a year. Yet, there are many public sector unions that won't even talk about it. If you don't like some aspects of my plan, and we're not going to save $2 billion a year, maybe we save 1.5. But it isn't just throwing a dart at a dartboard. You then need to look at your overall budget and say, well, that's another $500 million that we're not saving off of that $4 to $7 billion hole. And at the end of the day, all the math has to add up in a year. Pension reform, maybe just south of that, if you decide to go that, we could talk about that. And then you get down to school funding. If you're lucky, you'll save $1 billion. But most people want to have that accrued to property tax savings, so that money will go on the table. Short of that, you're talking a few $100 million here, a few $100 million there. It is very hard to get to $4 to $7 billion.
We're a union of attorneys that's been paying into this. We want to, if we were to engage in more reforms, if we do that, we got to make sure that that's paid. We made a promise. We were promised with Chapter 78, and my people feel that they reneged on the promise.
Well, let me tell you.
And here's it was part of the problem. Okay, unrealistic monetary projections. Okay.
But the projections we used were based on actuarial projections of a whole host of folks, left and right, who said this is about what rate we should grow at coming out of a recession.
These are comments that Speaker Prieto made in Atlantic City back in May or June before the firefighters union convention. And he said Obamacare Gold Plan actually has a very high deductible and has a lot of money you have to pay up front. And basically just railed against it. So when that's the starting point for this conversation, how do you get anything done?
Here's the thing. Eventually, everyone is going to have to accept my numbers because we'll run out of money. So, and like you said, with all due respect to the speaker, and he's a good friend, he's got no plan.
I think this whole thing's a farce. I think you're going to do a little road show. The Democrat didn't even show up. Emergency. And
I'm a Democrat.
Congratulations. And I think that
decades of experience, a lot of credibility. So the insults, we probably just shouldn't.
This is not an insult.
Oh, but it's a farce.
I think this is a farce.
And I got to tell you, I devote a huge amount of my time, and I can make a lot more money with the time that I spend here. I'm here for the right reasons. So if you're going to attack us, do it somewhere else. Because starting with the sonic disrespect gets us nowhere. And quite frankly, it helped dig the hole we're in. So you want to do something constructive, ask a question.
The reason I think this is a farce is because I don't think Sweeney's going to permit any changes. He's going to push for the constitutional amendment. Not that you're not genuinely trying to fix the problem.
Fair enough.
It's just not going to go anywhere. I would come to your meetings and nothing ever comes of it. So it's a farce in the sense that in the end, Sweeney won't permit it. This is a union-dominated state, and the Democrats are a wholly owned subsidiary of the unions. You are servants of the unions, and you will not buck your masters. Because if you do, the money and the support will go away.
What do you think are the chances of anything getting done in this coming year?
And it's not high.
Earlier in the meeting, Executive Director Leila Sadeghi explained that Senator Steck wasn't able to attend due to a very last-minute issue in Union City. Hudson County View, the eye of the community.